Welcome to another edition of the Callahan Connection. My guest today is Stephen Werther, and Stephen is, I hope I get this correct, owner, director, president, CEO, ACS.
Correct.
Well, first of all, tell us the name, ACS. What is ACS?
So it's an acronym for Alternative Compassion Services.
Okay.
That's the name, but we go by shorter. We go by ACS.
Well, introduce yourself and tell us where you're at, and then we'll kind of get into our little discussion here.
Sure. So again,
where you are and what you do.
Sure. So I am president and CEO of ACS. We have a location in Bridgewater. Clearly, we've been here for 6 years, and we have a location in Hull. Both here it's medical and adult use sales, and in Hull it's medical only currently.
Okay. And you're on Elm Street.
693 Elm Street,
right,
directly across from the bus terminal that's there.
Lucini bus.
Yeah.
Is he a good neighbor? I know Bill Lucini.
Oh, excellent neighbor. Can't do enough. Can't do enough when we ever need anything.
So let's kind of get into it, because
Sure.
you made an interesting comment between Hull and Bridgewater. And when we were talking the other day, you talked about how you started in Bridgewater as medical only. So tell us a little bit about how you started, and we'll get into the progression of it.
Sure. Well, it actually goes all the way back to 2011. I happened to meet a gentleman who was doing medical cannabis in Rhode Island at that time, and that was the early part of their program. And I became interested. He was talking about the kinds of people he was helping using cannabis with their ailments and pain relief, et cetera, and I became very interested. I'm kind of an entrepreneur at heart. I've had numerous different businesses in my life that I've started, so I became very interested, and I happened to mention to him that in 2013, Massachusetts was going to be doing, they were going to be taking on applications for opening a medical dispensary, because back then, only medical cannabis was going to be legal. Correct. So I got interested, we met, I started learning, so back in 2011, and in 2013 I actually applied for a license with the state. At the time, the program was run by the Department of Public Health. Anybody that has followed along this industry for a long time knows that it was a pretty big disaster. Actually, nobody got licensed back then, and then so a couple of years later, actually when Charlie Baker became governor of Mass, he restructured the program. They reopened the licensing process. We decided to reapply at that time, and we were awarded a license pretty early on. At that time, we went ahead and bought the building. Well, we don't actually own it, but the people that are involved with our business, they bought the building.
They built that building.
So the building was there originally.
Oh.
It was just a shell. I think there was a gentleman that was originally trying to open a building for like a trucking repair or something, yeah. And there was no power on the street then in that section. Yeah, so by the time there was actually power there, he had already moved his business. He had gone to another location. This is my understanding of the whole process. Right. The building was purchased, and at that time, then the build out, it was just a shell of a building. And the land was undeveloped. So we started the process.
So
of
good
building
for you.
it up.
You were able to build it out to what you needed.
Correct. Yeah.
So you didn't have to
very
remodel.
Specific requirements.
Jump back for a second and just give me a little bit of your background.
Oh, sure.
That led to your knowledge and expertise in this business.
So really, I didn't have any at that time. Prior to that, I had been in the telephone system business for 21 years.
Really?
I had been in the phone industry for over 30 years. I owned my own telephone system business in Needham called ACS. It was Alternative Communication Systems.
There you go.
And so I was in the phone business for like 30 years, my own business for 21 years. And then after that, I sold that business in 2003. So there was some time, and then I did project management work, business relocation. So I already knew about phones, wiring. I learned about security, access control, all the things that are incorporated into a building like ours. But it was really meeting this gentleman and starting to learn from the ground up. So that was in 2011.
You were self-taught. The gentleman in
Pretty
Rhode
much.
Island got you.
He got
okay,
us in-
here's book #1.
Yeah.
Start reading.
But I am self-taught from that perspective. And then we hired people like the grower and, different department heads that knew a lot more. I mean, I'm not,
Almost like
you don't want me taking care of your plants, let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
so I would kind of, maybe it's like the guys that do the brewery. One gentleman has an idea,
Correct.
and then he hires a brewer, and they start making product, and
Yeah, I've had businesses, so I'm good at that. So we hired some really good people to do different aspects of our business, whether it was cultivation, production, retailing.
So in that store now, let's get into ACS, and let's talk, we're just going to stay with the medical side for now.
Sure.
You started growing it, at day one you started to have your own product, grow your own product.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah, so when you have a medical, I think we talked about this a little bit. When you have a medical like.
That's just like those guys, they make their own beer and they can sell their own beer and they don't have to worry about distributorships and all that kind of stuff,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And you're doing that.
So that's how we started out, and that's what we were up until 3 months ago when we were able to add adult use sales. But
And you make your own edibles,
we do.
which I know there's like candy and there's candies. I don't know, right? Candy.
Yeah, there are cookies,
Yeah, okay.
brownies.
Yeah,
We happen to make truffles.
yeah.
We make, some people call them gummies. We refer to them as
Right.
jellies.
Yeah.
Ours are not as hard as a gummy would be.
Right.
But yeah, we infuse those. It's very specific. They get infused. They get tested. Everything we do is tested by a state certified lab. So we know how to make things. So if we say that it has 5 milligrams of THC in it, for example, that's what it has, which is a very important thing. A lot of people that make edibles on their own, there's really no way to know what you have in there, and that can be a dangerous thing. I think.
I would bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making your own.
You want to be
yeah.
careful about what you
Well,
consume.
back in the day, they bathtub gin.
Yeah. Right.
So
Exactly.
the state, I want to just real quick. The
Sure.
state comes in, and what do they go around? You take stuff off your shelf or something? What do they do?
So when adult use came along, the state created the Cannabis Control Commission, and that's who now regulates us.
Yeah.
Unlike in the early days where I mentioned it was DPH. So
Correct.
yeah. So when you mean for check-in?
Yeah, you
so-
say they come in and check you all the time.
Yeah, so we're a highly regulated business. They show up unannounced, which is what what they do, and they come in and they make sure that we're doing everything we're supposed to be doing compliantly. All our plants,
on the retail side, not so much the growing side.
both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah, all our plants have plant tags. It's referred to as seed to sale. So you have
Oh.
to track it from the start of the plant
Wow,
till the
wow.
time it goes out the door as a finished product.
Wow.
So it's a very complicated process, but I think the regulation and the compliance is a very important part of the business. We've always been extremely diligent about being compliant.
You prefer to have a stronger regulation to make the business better,
I do.
more honest.
I do. I mean, we've always believed in trying to raise up the industry. I mean,
Correct. Yeah.
cannabis can be very helpful, but like any product like that, it could be detrimental if not used properly. So
Right.
we've always been big advocates of regulation. I mean, the taxes, the education,
Yeah.
those are very important elements to what we've always believed in and what we promote highly. So yeah, I'm all about regulation. So, and it's good.
Regulation and education.
Regulation and education.
education.
You can't ban things out of existence. So if you ban a legal thing like it is in Massachusetts, if you ban legal cannabis, it's just the black market's going to.
Well, we've been there. We
Yeah.
went through all that, and I
Yeah.
think that's what's kind of turned it around. And I think not everybody, but certainly more people now have a better understanding of what the product is,
Yes.
right? And
For sure.
how to use it, and what's safe and what's not safe. It's no different than alcohol. Alcohol can be misused, the same type of thing, right?
Right. Well, yeah, and we think that, we believe strongly that cannabis can really be used in a safer way for you to help your pain, help help you sleep, all these different things.
Right.
So it's lately, you know, we kind of, I mean, I personally don't drink alcohol, but so we kind of view them as a little bit different in that regard, but they can both be abused, you know, they can both be abused. So, yeah, there was something I just thought I wanted to, but it slipped my mind. I'm sure it'll come back.
Well, I am a proponent because I buy this thing called a freeze. It's like a freeze. You know what freeze is? It's in a little jar. It's
for a pain?
what do you call it?
Like a balm.
A balm.
Yeah, a lotion, a balm.
Yeah. So I get kind of an arthritic pain here that I use it on, and I have a knee replacement. It started with my knee. When I was in Colorado, my knee was killing me, and my daughter lived there. She said, "Dad, why don't we go down here and we'll go to this store, your store?" And I bought some of that, the balm, and I started putting it on my knee. And now people can say, "Well, Callahan's, he's crazy," but it worked.
Yeah.
It took the.
Oh, yeah.
I had like an arthritic pain from the knee replacement, and
Yeah.
it took it away. I put it on in the morning, and I felt better. Now, that's my experience. So I kind of am a proponent of it.
Yeah, we find that to be true a lot. I mean, we make, you know, we make a balm. It's got CBD and THC in it, along with camphor, menthol,
Correct,
other
yeah,
kinds
menthol.
of oils, and
Yeah.
it's extremely effective. And there's no psychoactive effect from a topical. So, yeah, very excellent product.
Yeah.
Excellent products.
So
yeah.
like if I'm going golfing, I put it on my knee and I rub it into actually both hands. I just kind of rub it all into the hands.
Does it help you golf game?
Okay, next question. Okay, so you've been in business 6 years. No, but
Well, longer really, because
Yeah.
we've been open. Our
Since-
medical dispensary has been open for sales for 6 years.
6 years. Okay.
Yeah.
And that whole business, you had to get a prescription from a doctor, and then, then you'd go to the medical
Yeah.
store.
It's referred to as a certification. It's not an actual
It's not a
prescription.
prescription, but a certification,
Yep.
right? Well, you want to take us through the transition now to this next phase of where we are today
Sure.
in the law?
So the market, adult use or recreational cannabis, I think it was in 2016 that the law passed, and I want to say 2018, I'm not sure of the dates or whatever, that they started licensing dispensaries that wanted to open. And at that time you could open for adult use only, you could open for medical, or you could have licenses. We are limited as a single under our ownership. If we had the locations and so forth, you can have up to 3 medical dispensary licenses and 3 adult use licenses. That's the max amount of licenses that a company can have under one ownership group.
Right, under Stephen.
We have.
Oh, your ownership.
It's our ownership group.
Yeah.
And so back then, we wanted to then add adult use sales to our dispensary in Bridgewater, and at that time, the town voted that down. So we were unable to do that. And then about a year ago, January, I think it was, there was a town vote that would allow us to be able to do adult use, and that vote passed. So yeah, for a lot of years we couldn't do it.
But explain why, because I think I was on the council at the time when we passed the tax that approved a tax from the restaurants. I think that's the same tax you're talking about.
So yeah, so for adult, so the programs are different in how that. So medical marijuana is not taxed.
Correct. Yeah.
But adult use sales, there's a 20% tax, state tax. 3% of that tax goes directly back to the city or town.
Right.
So there was a lot of discussion about that, and again, I understand some people didn't agree with it, but that's what happened. And the town council at that time did not approve us moving forward. So we were essentially blocked from being able to sell recreational or adult use cannabis in Bridgewater. That's the case in Hull right now. We overturned the ban in Hull too this year, actually last year, and it's going through the process. Same way in Bridgewater. Once it was approved,
Yes.
there was a bunch of things I had to go through with the town of Bridgewater, And then after you get those documents squared away, you can then apply for your license with the Cannabis Control Commission, and that takes a long time. So that was a year ago, January, I believe, and then it was a whole year, and we opened on February 28th, I believe, for adult use sales. So it's a very long, complicated process to get through.
But that 3% tax that you refer to, the town of Bridgewater approved that years ago, for a restaurant tax,
Yes.
food tax.
Right.
So any restaurant, if you happen to live in the town of Bridgewater and you want to help your town, you go to eat in Bridgewater, and 3% comes back to the town.
Right, so exactly, so cannabis is the same way. So if you come to our dispensary now and you buy adult use cannabis, 3% of the tax that's charged is going directly back to Bridgewater.
That's a lot of money, and if you count up all the restaurants.
Can be a lot of money.
And donut shops, and everybody else in town, 3%, go to eat here and buy your coffee here,
Yeah, I think the bottom line, right, we all know, I don't know that there's a city or town in the state that isn't in need of some type of revenue. And since cannabis is legal, it's another avenue for the town to generate some revenue. And I will say that, we very quietly operate over there. We never have any, there are never any issues. I know people were concerned, and I understand those concerns, but at the same time, cannabis has been legal in Massachusetts for quite a while now, and it's proven to be a safe, highly regulated industry.
Well, you can get on Google and find anything you want. Right?
Yeah.
But the truth is the truth. So talk about then, now you still have the medical that's going strong.
Yep.
Now you have the adult use. Is it the same, like in the back office, the back room, where the plants are and all that? Does that change, or it just changes up front? What?
It really just changes up front. Again, since it's regulated from seed to sale, internally products get, so there's a state system called metric. It's how everything is tracked, and it's just the process of these products, once they go from a plant all the way through a finished product, whether it's packaged flower or whether it's an edible, it gets moved into the correct
within your own accounting in ACS?
We take care of it. But the Cannabis Control Commission has access. They can look at all our stuff in metric. They can't actually see anything unless they come into the building, but through this metric system, since everything has tags and everything gets scanned and numbers, they're able to track everything, and they can look in it that way. When they come in with a scanner, and they make sure that all these codes match up with things. That's how they make sure. That's one way they make sure that we're compliant.
So if I go into just a regular retail store in Brockton, say, they have the same metric system?
Absolutely.
It's all the same
every licensed dispensary in Mass, it operates. They might have a different front end, like a point of sale system, but that integrates or works with this metric system. So everybody has metric. The state can see every last bit of cannabis that's being moved around or sold.
Jeez. That's probably stronger than the lottery.
Can't say, but
yeah, you're not going to say. Okay. Okay. So your business, has it increased, or you find that there's similar, more business has shifted, or what do you see in your business now?
Yeah, so in the industry, the market has changed. There's approximately 350 adult use cannabis stores in Massachusetts now, and there's about 180 medical dispensaries in Massachusetts. So adult use has really sort of taken over. There are a lot of reasons why people might not want to get certified to get a card. There is a database. It is a private database. In 6 years plus, there's never been an issue with that database, but that's a reason why sometimes people don't want to get it, but they still want to use cannabis to help sleep or their pain or whatever they want. And so that lends it to adult use is easier. You just have to show your license, and you can come in. Yeah, another reason is that people that have a license to carry, they don't want to have they definitely don't want to have a card. They don't want to be, I don't have a license to carry, so I'm not exactly clear on the questions. I know the questions on a license have changed, but that's another reason why people don't want to get cards. A lot of people want to have their license to carry, and they want their privacy. So they're willing to pay the sales tax to be able to walk in, just show their license, which is not in a system or anywhere. It's just, when you give me your license, oh, not me, but when you give us your license, we scan it, but it's only to prove that it's a valid license. That's
Correct.
it. It doesn't register that information. So that's a reason why people
point.
adult
That's a
use.
good point.
So there are a lot of reasons why adult use has really exploded in the state, and so it has hurt the medical business because sometimes people don't want to. However, there are benefits to being a medical patient over an adult use patient. For example, by regulations and stuff, we're required to provide a hardship discount. So, depending on your income level, you automatically qualify for that. And so it's an automatic discount. We also give discounts to seniors, to veterans.
On the medical side.
On the medical side.
Yeah.
So we're allowed to do those kinds of things. We have a loyalty point program to help.
Wow.
So we have a lot of things to help drive the cost of medicine down, which are they're not technically allowed on the adult use side. We have seen some people doing things out there that might not be, they're kind of right on that line. But in a medical setting, we've had all those programs. We continue to support those programs. And that's a benefit of being a medical patient. And there's no sales tax, which is 20%.
20%.
So if you.
So I want to get a certification, but I don't. My doctor's in Norwood.
Yeah.
My primary care physician. She probably, I don't know if she would know what to do, but.
She might not.
So how do I? What if I go to your store and say I want to get certification?
So we work with. So there are a lot of. There are many firms in Massachusetts that are set up. They have They do have certified doctors on staff, which they're required to have, and they actually do the certifications. So it's a pretty easy process in terms of you don't have to go anywhere. It's all you can do it with telehealth type of thing.
Oh.
They ask you some questions about why you need to use cannabis, this and that, and then they certify you. And then you get registered with the state, and you get a card, and then you can go to any medical dispensary. And actually, it happens very quickly, and you get a temporary card in your email, and you can, in some cases, it's very easy and quick. It's very easy and quick to get it done if you want to have a card.
Yeah.
And there's just a whole host of conditions that are certifying. There are a lot of medical conditions. I couldn't possibly name them all, but there's a lot of things, and cannabis has been approved for trying those things. The people in our dispensary are very well educated, and that's part of our job as a medical dispensary, is to talk to you about why you're here today, what are you looking to do, what problem, what issue you're trying to help solve, and that's our job, is to help walk you through the process. We believe that with everything, it's a motto. We didn't create the motto, but start low, go slow. So that just means that it's like an edible. You want to start with the lowest possible dose you need to get the desired effect.
Yeah.
And that's where people get into trouble. They get something from a friend off the adult use, off the market that's not regulated. It doesn't say how much THC is in it. Yeah. Everybody's heard a story about.
Yeah, they have a bad experience.
They have a bad experience. So, but that is the truth. You want to use the least amount of cannabis you can to get the desired effect.
Start low, go slow.
Start low, go slow.
That's good.
And hydrate. Drink a lot of water.
Hydrate. Yeah, jeez.
But that's what's happening in the industry. So there are benefits to being medical. But the adult use market has really exploded, and it's affected the medical market.
Yeah.
So as a business, I started out wanting to just be in the medical industry, and I really wanted to help people, and we have helped a ton of people. But I had to add adult use sales to my business.
Correct,
if I was going to survive, because that's what the market.
I don't think you're going to see it go away. The market's going to shift, obviously, and it's going to find its own level. But I don't think you're going to see that medical side go away, honestly.
I agree with you.
I think there's too much involved, and you've done a nice job explaining what's involved with it, that it's not going away.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
So you have, I went on your website, and you get menu, patient benefits, home delivery, adult use, connect, resources. So to your point, you can get pretty well informed with going on here and doing a little background.
You can.
Right here. You don't have to, you know.
You don't, but if you want to, we're more than happy. I mean, it's part of our mandate to provide, you know, consultation.
People can go in and sit and talk and say,
absolutely,
you know, start low, go slow, and
yeah. We have a lot of people that are new to cannabis that want to try it.
Yeah.
We've had people that might use more alcohol than they would like, and they've used cannabis to, you know, there's cannabis in everything now. So, for example, we find that some low-dose drinks, seltzers, and stuff are a nice substitute for people that are trying to not use alcohol.
I have a friend that I play golf with. He doesn't drink alcohol, and he has those.
Yeah, it's very so. There's
no hangovers and no. Yeah, he gave up alcohol like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of ways.
You sell those?
We do.
There you go.
Those we don't make, but we do sell them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, to your point about the website, you can get a ton of information there, and we're more than happy to consult with somebody.
Okay, real quick, because we're going to run out of time.
Sure.
I want you to talk about hemp-based products and synthetic THC.
Okay, so
tell these people.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject. So, most people might know that CBD, and most CBD on the market comes from hemp, which is you know, in the same family as the cannabis plant, but they are different. And hemp was legalized on a federal level by the Farm Bill. But what they didn't anticipate, I think what the government didn't anticipate, was that hemp also has THC in it. It's supposed to have less than 0.3% THC in it, which it does. But people are taking that and they're making synthetics from it. There are a lot of products on the market that contain synthetic THC, very dangerous. Some of these synthetics are considered very, I mean, one in particular called THCP happens to be 33% stronger than D9 THC, which is what's in cannabis. So if people are concerned about how cannabis is strong, these synthetics, and they're illegal.
They're illegal.
They are absolutely illegal. That is illegal. That was never an intention. So in Massachusetts, they just banned any liquid CBD products or food-based CBD products are now, those just alone, THC aside, those are now banned. The ABCC, which is the Alcohol and Beverage Commission, sent out letters to all their licensees telling them that they could no longer sell or stock these liquid, you know, so there were things like that we sell legally under our regulations that are highly regulated. These were just being sold on shelves in liquor stores and bars and restaurants.
Synthetic THC. Give me the THCP.
Well, that's just one of them, but
Okay.
THCP is one of them. And so you find this stuff in not all, but in some smoke shops.
Okay, we got to be careful about that. My guest today is Stephen Werther. His company is ACS Bridgewater, ACS.
Yep, 693 Elm Street.
693 Elm Street, beautiful building.
Thank you.
Beautiful building. That whole street's changed
It's
drastically in the last few years. But, you know, I'm going to give you some congratulations on all your hard work.
Thank you.
You know, you deserve, because I think you probably got punched around a little bit over 10 years' time or
You
11
could say
years.
that.
And you look pretty good for all that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for having me today.
So they can find the hours, they can find it on your website.
Everything's on there.
And you got a loyalty program. You got, where is it? Something about Sundays, self-care Sundays.
Yeah, yeah. But and I'm happy to talk to anybody at any time. So
That's
I always
good.
make myself available.
You know, that makes a successful business when the owner is involved and he cares about the quality of the service, not just the product, but the quality of the service. That's what backs it up. That's what makes you so successful.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I
it's
appreciate it.
A lot of hard work.
Service is important.
Yeah.
Most important.
Well, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank
here.
you. Really appreciate it.